So, people consistently want to know, can I retire abroad? I've seen this being something that is so popular right now. It's a very popular search term. People are like, can I retire abroad with my US retirement income? Is it legal to go abroad? Am I authorized to go abroad? All of these interesting notions. And today I want to break it down for you so that you can understand whether or not you are allowed to go abroad. So if you're new here, welcome. I'm Tiffany, co-founder of Journey With Us Media Company. We have been in Africa for 5 years. We have helped thousands and thousands of people travel, live, and do business in Africa, okay? Our channel collectively has 2 million views, and we have helped so many expats. Actually, some have even gone outside of Africa. Some have ended up going to Turkey, some have ended up going to different places in Europe. And so we are about the global digital nomad life. But today we need to talk about this because there's this false notion going around that you cannot retire abroad. But the reality is much different. I'm gonna tell you right now, from where I stand in Mauritius, there are retirees from nearly every place on earth in this African country. There are retirees from every place on earth in South Africa as well, in Kenya, even in Tanzania. And so it is easy and simple to retire abroad with caveat, the right preparation. I want to preference this video by talking about a story that I saw earlier. I think it's on like the Ramsey show. I think that's his YouTube channel, like Dave Ramsey. He has a show where he talks about finance, and he had someone on there and they were talking about, and it was such a sad story. It was this older couple, middle-aged, not old necessarily, but the wife has cancer. They're like 58 and maybe like 60, something like that. And so in the video, she's talking about how her husband got scammed and how, they lost $270,000 of their retirement. That's horrible, $270,000. But the interviewees, Dave Ramsey and then some other girl, I don't know what her name is, but she's a Black woman. And she asked such a good question. She said, was it legitimately a scam, or did he just lose the money himself by a bad investment? And so the wife was on there. She's like, yeah, he lost it himself. There wasn't any like technical scam going on. He lost the $270,000 by sending it to a company in China, okay? And so with that question being asked, that was such a good question. She was like, what really happened? What really went on? Asking those questions that can clarify the situation. This is the type of research that's required if you want to retire abroad, okay? And so something that really stuck out, because I've read the Profit First book, I've worked with finance consultants who work after Profit First. It's one of the best, probably the best finance method that you can use for investing. At any given time, do not denotate more than 10 to 15% of your income. And I'm not a financial advisor, but I work in finance marketing as an entrepreneur. Do not denotate, under no circumstance, 10 to 15% of your income to any investment, to anything. And so this couple, they had their house paid off, they had that $270K, but because his wife had cancer, he was freaking out. He was like, he didn't know what to do. And it's like, in times of pressure, or if you have things going on in your life, don't risk it all. Don't do stuff like that. Just pause, think for a moment, maybe talk with your spouse. If you don't have a spouse, talk with children. If you're not close to your children, you may want to get close to them, okay? Especially as you come of an older age, because they're going to be that buffer to help you see what's reality and what's not. And they really went in on that husband. He was not on the call, but Dave Ramsey, he just went in. He was like, look, and this is a married couple. He's like, look, the fact that he didn't even come to you and speak to you about this investment he was doing, he already knew he was in the wrong, but he continued on that path. So that's just like a story for context I want to include that is so good, because when we're talking about your ability to retire abroad, there's so much false information out there. There's a lot of people out there that will tell you, no, it's impossible, you can't retire abroad, you can't live abroad, and we are going to bust that notion right now today. Now, where did I compile this research? Through my database, okay? My mom is of retirement age, and so naturally I'm looking into different retirement options for her. Now, I'm a little biased. Mauritius, Africa is the best retirement visa you're gonna find on the face of the planet, basically. Outside of, maybe, I don't even know. Mauritius is definitely the best. But there are some caveats. There are some instances where you may not be able to retire abroad, specifically if you try to receive your benefits from North Korea, Cuba, Vietnam, Belarus, or Azerbaijan. So those are the 5 caveats. Again, North Korea, Cuba, Vietnam, Belarus, Azerbaijan. If you try to receive your retirement benefits from specifically those countries, it will not work. You can receive your Social Security and your retirement benefits from any country other than those countries, okay? That's number 1. Number 2, when we're thinking about 401k withdrawals and things of that nature, I also work with tax relief firms, and they're always talking heavily about this. You may face penalties, like tax penalties, if you withdraw it before 59 and a half years old. You may have to pay some extra tax if you withdraw it before that age. But if you wait till after that age, you should be good. Now, federal and military pensions. Yes, most federal pensions are payable abroad, including the Civil Service Retirement System, Fed Employee Retirement System, and military pensions. How do we know? We have people in our family that have already done it and are going through the process. Medicare is not available abroad. That is something that you should know. So you're gonna have to choose like a private healthcare insurance. I have 2 favorites, Safety Wing and Genki. Safety Wing and Genki. They're both super affordable. Safety Wing's just a little bit more affordable. Safety Wing is an American company. I did a podcast with one of the directors. I should link it down below. Such a phenomenal digital nomad focused podcast. But then also Genki is a Germany-based health insurance company, and you can get one of their policies online as well. Now let's move into tax considerations. If you did not know, you are required to file your taxes every year, even while abroad. As long as you have an American passport, you have to file your taxes. Do not miss filing your taxes. I'm telling you, don't do it. You do not want to be in that crowd. I deal with cases and marketing these cases every single day of people that do not file their taxes while they're still in America. And I'm gonna tell you, they live to regret it. Do not be that person. File your taxes while you're abroad. You can do it with TurboTax. You can do it with H&R Block. You can have a private person. I tend to veer on the side of having TurboTax or H&R Block. I'm not very trusting of just random people that say they can do taxes. I don't have time for that. I'm gonna go with what is going to actually get me an ROI, and the ROI I'm looking for is this done properly and legitimately? I don't really spend a lot of time. I know they have like a lot of people in the inner city and different areas that are like, oh, I can do taxes, and I'm like, I don't want you to do them. I'm gonna go and get it done from this company that's reputable for doing them. So that's what I would advise you to do as your international expat concierge right now. But understand you may qualify for the foreign earned income exclusion, foreign tax credit. And some countries have double taxation treaties, i.e., this is why I say Mauritius is the best one. Mauritius, Portugal, and France have double taxation agreements. A lot of African countries do not have these agreements, okay? People don't understand this lingo. This is a little bit advanced, a little bit higher level. People usually look at like, oh, can I go on safari? Oh, do I like the culture? That's all great and dandy. But if you have to pay 25% more in taxes on top of what you already have to pay in America, is that really the smartest move? It all sets your cost of living to where you're like, oh, I just moved to a super affordable country. Well, you're an expat. So you're not going to live at that cost of living. You're going to live at the expat cost of living. And if you choose a country that is too corrupt or does not have double taxation agreements, you're going to be paying double, triple, sometimes quadruple on top of bribery and all the random black tax weird situations that they have going on the continent. That's why I say Mauritius is going to be your best bet in Africa, hands down, for a fact. They issue you a 10-year retirement visa, by the way. I want you to check out the Mauritius Economic Development Bank website. Google it, say it to Siri, take some time. It should take 25 minutes. The Mauritius Economic Development Bank lays out how to get your retirement visa, your retirement residence permit, the last 10 years, where you have to prove through pension or through your retirement or a combination of both that you make $1,500 per month. That is it. That is the only requirement. That is the only requirement, okay? And so you have to think these countries wouldn't have, nearly every country on earth has some type of retirement visa. These countries wouldn't have retirement residence permits if it was impossible to retire abroad. The caveat again is that you need the right preparation, you need the right research, you need the right people working with you on your team. You know, for my mother, it's very simple for her. She has a daughter that does this all the time, and so it's very simple. But if you do not have that, find out ways that you can get in community with people who have that experience and do the proper research. It's very simple to do. It's not too time consuming. You just have to be able to read and understand the vocabulary and the language that's going on. Now, let's talk about banking and documents that you should prepare. Now, to simplify things, we have taught this the entire 5 years of being abroad. We have taught this to our Dream Life Africa students, our State of the Diaspora clients. We teach this even to people in Black Educators Amplified. We openly say this over and over and over, and I'm gonna put it out in the public again. Use a U.S. bank that supports international access. Use a U.S. bank that supports digital nomadism. Use a digital nomad bank. Too many times, people don't understand the logistics of a move abroad, and they'll use Chase Bank or Wells Fargo, and they're like, well, everything should work fine. And it's like, it doesn't work fine. You're getting charged nearly $20 at the ATM for everything that you're doing. And then you're wasting all of that money because you didn't use a digital nomad bank, okay? Just think about that. Then once you come to a country like Mauritius, you can open a bank account, but don't just close all of your American bank accounts. It's like, why would you do that? Don't do that. Leave your American bank accounts open, put whatever you want in the foreign bank account, whatever it is. But do not just close all of your American bank accounts. Don't think that Chase or, Citibank or, I don't know, what are some local banks? Don't think your local credit union is going to function in the way that you want it to outside of America. They will flag you for fraud every time. They will shut down your card, and you're in a different time zone. So you're going to be calling at 10 a.m. your time. It's going to be 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. their time. And you're going to be like, hey, my card's frozen. Then you're going to realize, oh, nobody's answering the phone because it's 2 a.m. Eastern time. It's 2 a.m. Pacific time. You can demolish all of your issues by just not going that route and instead choosing a bank like Charles Schwab, SoFi, Wise. I know in the UK they have Revolt. Choose a digital nomad bank. I even think Fidelity Investments will make it easy for you as well. Fidelity is also international. We have a Fidelity account. And have multiple accounts. You should have 5 to 7 accounts at any given time. If you are someone that does not plan on being in America all the time and going back every 3 seconds, if you do not want to go back to the States every 5 seconds, then you need to plan accordingly. This is why we have produced and developed curriculum around all of these topics that are at your fingertips so that you can understand the lay of the land, have this checklist, have your banks, have the international banks that you can access, have the banks on the ground that you can access, because this is information that people either don't tell you or they just are ignorant themselves and have no idea that these things exist to make it easy for you. I'm telling you, we have even sold property in the States while being abroad. Most people don't know you can sell your home while being in a different country. It's called a power of attorney. How do we know? Because we work with finance, real estate, and law firms. It's a beautiful thing to work with all of these industries because then you get all of the knowledge that they have. And so when we filed our power of attorney, we were able to sell our property in America while being in East Africa. Power of attorney, look it up, okay? Now the last point, documents to prepare. Obviously you need a valid US passport, Your US passport is valid for 10 years. If you are afraid of renewing your passport abroad overseas, understand that most countries have an embassy. Mauritius has a US embassy and consulate where you can go and renew your passport. We renewed a few of our children's passport just a couple of months ago at the US embassy. Very simple, very straightforward process, very kind people. You're done, it's very simple, that's it. Direct deposit forms for your Social Security and pension are necessary as well. You will want the W8BEN form or W9 for IRS compliance, okay? You want your international address verification in the system, and you want your healthcare insurance. Now, to even be able to get a premium visa out here, the digital nomad visa, you have to have health insurance. I believe the retirement visa is probably going to be the same. I can almost guarantee that. They want you to have international health insurance. Again, my favorites, Genki, GENKI, and Safety Wing, SAFETY. These are my two favorite private insurance companies, okay? Now, the area that I am in Mauritius, you have phenomenal concierge medical, okay? A lot of people complain and say, Africa has horrible medical systems, and I guess it's dependent on that country. Obviously, if it's a third world country, it may not be as strong, but when you choose a country like South Africa, Kenya, or Mauritius, you're gonna get the top. Okay, Kenya, South Africa, Mauritius, you're gonna get top of the line care, okay? So Sea Care is a phenomenal one out here. They have hospitals all over the island. There's like another private hospital towards the middle in the Mocha district. There are so many options available. And so this is why it was so important for me to make this video, because I know a lot of you of retirement age, or even people that are thinking of retiring early, and you're like, I don't care about that tax 15% that they're gonna hit me with. I don't care. I wanna take out this retirement. Do you, boo? Do whatever you feel that you are called to do. If you feel like you need peace and stability, do what you feel like doing. But there's a lot of misinformation out there. A lot of people are just ignorant to these things. They don't understand how these things work. But it's an honor to provide you with this information so that you can choose the best path for yourself going forward. It is fairly simple and easy to retire abroad. Caveat, if you choose the right country. Again, I would not retire in a country that is not on the least corrupt index in Africa. I'm gonna be very, very honest with you. That may sound bougie, that may sound whatever, but I would not retire in a country that is not Mauritius, Seychelles, South Africa, Rwanda, Senegal, Ghana. Who else is on? I think that's all the countries on the least corrupt list. Cape Verde. I think that's all the countries on the least corrupt African countries list. I would not, because you're going to wind up dealing with a lot of issues that do not have to be dealt with when you can choose the right country, right? So that's why I want to break it down for you. You're gonna have to decide, is like culture and like fashion more important, or is ease to get your residence permit, ease to do business, ease to be in safety, ease to be in cleanliness, ease to be all of these things? Which one's more attainable for you? Which one do you want more? For us as a large family, obviously this realm. Fashion is great, that's fantastic. I love seeing, whatever. But at the end of the day, if the requirements and the compliance and the legal structure and the immigration structure are not set up properly without corruption, then it's just going to be a waste of time. It's fine to visit these different places, especially if you were to retire on the Mauritius 10-year visa, because it's a 10-year residence permit, and then you can renew for the permanent one, okay? But that's going to be much easier. Than you can travel around Africa. You have your second residence permit that lasts 10 years. You think, okay, I'm gonna be this age in 10 years. The 10-year visa, they also have the 10-year self-employed entrepreneur visa. The requirement is that you put in $35,000 in the bank if you're employing yourself and one other person. If you are a larger business, it's gonna be 50K USD in the bank, one of the local Mauritian banks. They have a lot of banks out here. They have ABSA, they have Afra Asia Bank, they have MAU, they have MCB, which is like the main Mauritian bank. But these are the things that you want to think about. These are the things that matter more than fashion and culture. Fashion and culture is good, but fashion and culture is not going to keep you in the country. Instead, what keeps you in the country is this ranking of the ease to do business, the ease to receive residence, the index of which corruption is rampant or not rampant in the country, the index of which where corruption lies. Every country has some type of corruption, but maybe certain countries don't deal with as much corruption when it comes to foreigners. Maybe they really love foreigners, and that's the place that you want to be. You can visit all over the continent. You could visit Asia if you want, but make sure your second residence is in a place that is stable. This is how you can avoid scams. This is how you can avoid getting taken advantage of. And again, take your time when making these decisions. Do the proper research. Speak to the right people. That is going to be how you can avoid getting scammed or just wasting your money like the guy I was telling you in the beginning of this video. So sad. That story was just crazy. Maybe I'll link that story down below. That was like, you just feel bad for his wife because his wife had cancer. It was like, oh gosh, okay. But yes, take your time, see what works best for you. Do not always go with the most popular option. Again, I'm in Mauritius, Africa. There's not a lot of Americans here at all. There's a lot of expats here in general. It's a French-speaking country. I'm like, man, I should have took French in high school, okay? And in middle school, but I spoke Spanish back then, okay? I didn't do all that. I did French. I mean, I did Spanish. I should have did French. But it's a place that not a lot of people come to. A lot of times, the less popular places are going to be more advantageous to you, just as the scriptures say. Seek the narrow way. Few be therein that find it, okay? You can use that in your own life and see, okay, sometimes the places that you don't think of but are on these lists that are highly advantageous to you could hold your legacy for the next 10 to 15 years, especially if you're like, I want to leave America ASAP. I'm getting out of here. I'm with you, sis. I'm with you, bro. Do it. Aunt, uncle, you know, whoever you are, do it. I've been living this life and I absolutely love it, but have the right information. You know, don't listen always to what's popular. A lot of times what's popular has flaws. Even when I'm investing in my business, a lot of times I'll go for a business consultant that is not super popular, meaning I don't necessarily want someone that has millions of subscribers as a business consultant, because usually those people, they drive so much traffic that they're just going to be able to get away with anything. They could give you a crap course, a crap program, and nobody's going to bat an eye because they have such a large following, versus a small business consultant that's very niche, very specific. Their reputation is on the line, so they're going to do their very best, and I identify more with those type of people. So let that be a practical tip for you today, a philosophical tip for you today, and share this video with somebody who wants to retire in Africa or Asia. Shalom, shalom. See you in the next video.